everybody, it's Psychic Medium Kelly Miller, and I am, believe it or not, on my couch because I completely forgot about this one. So somebody was just texting me going, hey, when are you doing your Q&A? And I'm like, I don't know, sometime. And they're like, now? I'm like, shit. So just want to let everybody know, my apologies for starting this kind of a little late. But I hope you guys can hear me okay. My dogs will probably be jumping on me, but we're going to roll with this one. So just want to say hi to everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Like I said, little late, my bad. Sorry about that. Honestly, completely forgot. It was one of those days where I'm like super duper busy and my brain isn't like, my brain's actually on my kids. So yesterday during the football game, Steven had a concussion, and so I had to rush him to the ER. So my brain has been more being here at home and taking care of him, and completely forgot about the free Q&A tonight. So hi, everybody. Steven will probably come out a little bit later with his lovely neck brace that he has. So, but he's doing okay. He's on the mend. It's all good. So, but if you guys have never attended one of these events with me, this is pretty simple. All you're going to do is just simply ask some questions. I'm here to answer questions. That's it. So if you guys have any questions at all, like I said, go ahead, shout them out. It's all good. I'm going to try to help you guys out the best that I can. Like I said, we have a good hour. So if I go a little over, we go a little over. So Paige is home. I'm doing a live Q&A right now. So yeah. Go ahead. It's okay. Welcome to my world, peeps, right? Oh, so it's all good. Steven, do you want to come show him your neck brace? I told him about it. You want to come see? Come show him. I know, come show him. There's Paige. She just got back from Subway. So, Steven, come on. My psycho dog. Come on, show him your neck brace. It's fashionable. Come on. Come on. It's totally fashionable. Show him your neck brace, Stevo. And that's my kid right there. So there's Steven. That's Paige. Those are my two dogs, Psycho. But yeah, he's in neck brace here for a little bit. So, but hello to everybody. Hi, I want to say hi. So I have to do my job, so you guys have to go away. Okay, bye. Okay, so let's get started answering some questions. So somebody's asking, what is the best way to clear ourselves daily? Best way, honestly, meditate. Like I said, you really got to learn how to meditate. And I'll tell you what, I'm a big proponent in salt baths. So I love salt baths. So that's my way of kind of unwinding in a way. So salt baths are awesome. Meditation is good. A lot of people like to sage, but I personally don't like to stink like sage. So sage spray is another really good idea to be able to do. So so that's not a bad idea too. What's the one thing we can do to hone our psychic abilities, Tammy? That's an awesome question. And I'm going to tell you, guys are going to get sick of me saying this, but meditate, meditate, meditate. That is the number one way to learn the basic ability of psychic stuff, because what it does is it creates gaps in your thinking. So your thinking doesn't always just shut off. Okay, let's be real, but it at least creates gaps. So the more you meditate, the more gapping you have, the more gaps you have, the more ways that you can kind of get your intuitive abilities to spike. So that's absolutely going to help. So yesterday had some furniture movers bring my fridge. Both refused to bring in fridge because they said my place is extremely haunted. What would you do? Well, first thing I'd do is sage the heck out of it. But I'll tell you what, here's the deal with this one, Christina. That's a really good question, but here's the deal. Vibrationally speaking, if your home vibrates at a very high energy level and they don't, it will actually creep them out. I have a lot of, sometimes it doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while I have somebody that will come into the store and they're like, I just feel sick when I walk in. I can't handle it. And what happens is our store is vibrating at a very high energy level. People that are low vibration, people that are in a negative state, a lot of times we'll have trouble in our store, or people with negative entity attachment. So I would tell you most likely it's probably not haunted. My guess is their energy is really low, coming into a very high place of vibration, and it does energetically mess with you a little bit. So if I had to guess, that's probably more or less what's going on. So if you are having a haunting, the first things first is you want to sage the house. So, and if saging doesn't work, then we're going to do the next step, and that's using salt. So we'll do a circle of salt around the outside of the home, and that then will act as a protective barrier. So that's another one to help out. Very important, went through the flood in Fremont, and lost everything. Will I ever get my life back to normal? You will, but sometimes, Maria, things have to get taken away so you can appreciate the basics, the simplicity of everything. So a lot of times that's where we kind of need to be. So, and I know that sounds, I'm trying to make light of something that's really difficult. Don't get me wrong. The biggest thing is that I do think that the floods is going to happen again next year. Unfortunately, I don't think we're out of the woodwork yet. I really don't. So, as an empathic person, how do you keep coworkers' emotions from bringing you down besides imagining the protective bubble? That's a good one. So what else you can do is make sure that you're really well grounded. So you want to make sure that your heart chakra isn't open all the way. We want to close the heart chakra down when it comes to discussing things with people, stuff like that, because the heart chakra is open on empaths. So we want to close that down a little bit. The second thing you want to do is really make sure that your root chakra is open. So the best thing for the root chakra is anything black or red. I'm finding that hematite and garnet, awesome things for that. So yeah, buddy, you can. So, that really helps a lot too. So just make sure that you're grounded, make sure that your heart chakra is kind of off, do the bubble trick, obviously, and try not to over empathize, which is not easy to do. Next up, I need something for calmness and my anxiety just keeps getting worse. What do you recommend? Becky, I would tell you, crystals are really good. The best crystals for anxiety a lot of times is amethyst. And then also those grounding stones. So grounding stones such as like I talked about, garnet, hematite, black tourmaline, black obsidian, onyx, anything like that is also going to help to ground you so you're not so much up in your head. Another one that's really good is called lapilladite. And lapilladite contains lithium, and lithium is the same thing that people with mental instability a lot of times are prescribed. So I'm not saying that you have mental instability, but a lot of times with anxiety, lapilladite seems to be a pretty good winner, at least what people are saying or talking about. So another one. Is there a difference between a soul family and a soul group? Yes, Dawn, there is. I mean, a soul family is the family that you're born into, blood family or blood relation. Soul families are like your best friends, and you just remain best friends for a long time. And soul mates are people that we are partnered with. So there's different types of soul groups, absolutely. And in this lifetime, you're going to have one of many. So, and some people get their soulmate and some people don't. So it depends on what lessons that you need to learn. So. Becky was asking if I have them in bracelets. I do. So, and if you don't want to come to the store because the weather's starting to get shitty, awakeningstore.com. So over a certain amount, I think it's over $25, we ship for free. So it's not a big deal. Yesterday I used Palo in my apartment, and today I came home to my house still heavy. Do you suggest anything else? You know what? I would tell you if Palo doesn't quite work, maybe it's time for some sage. Sage doesn't work, then I would tell you, especially in an apartment, we're finding that we sell black tourmaline orgonite pyramids. They're smaller ones. I got big ones and small ones. So the small ones are perfect for apartments. You put them in four corners of your apartment, and what that does is it prevents, it creates a barrier. So that way, up and down and sideways, it creates almost like a big circle. So what that ends up doing then is in your apartment from any residual energy, any active energy, meaning ghosts, things like that. And apartments are usually pretty layered. They're pretty thick. So I always usually recommend, if you don't like the pyramids, then at the very least stick a piece of black tourmaline in the four corners of your apartment. So that's really, really going to help a lot. So, alrighty. And if you guys have questions about crystals, I will tell you that not only am I pretty knowledgeable, but Curtis is really knowledgeable. Our staff is really knowledgeable about crystals. So don't be afraid to ask them what would be the best one for something. And if they don't know, they know that they can come ask me or Curtis, or simply text us and we'll let them know. So don't feel like you know, you don't have to talk to me, because I'm not there all the time. So my 5-year-old son's been having a few problems at school, nothing serious, wondering how I can help him focus. Okay, Josie, that's a really good one. I would tell you, number one, they have to have outside time. So I'm ADHD and I have a bachelor's degree in horticulture and I need to be outside, So number one rule, get them outside, especially before school if you can. Second of all, 0 sugar in the morning. Sugar is a huge stimulant for ADHD people like me. And by 10:30, we're done. We're shot. We're aggravated. And we want to get the hell out of there because we're done with people. So make sure that it's a low sugar in the morning. So eggs are good. Bacon's good. Toast, things like that. Now, after school, sugar, I don't care. At weekends, who cares? But during school, low sugar. And then lastly, let them collect their outside things and bring them in. So if they like pine cones, let them keep the damn pine cones. So black rocks, again, usually little boys have a tendency to like peacock ore, and then they also like gold tiger eye. So those are 2 that are pretty good, gold tiger eye especially. Black onyx, guys are really naturally gravitated to black onyx, so that would be another option. If he doesn't want to keep it in his pocket because they fidget, then I would tell you keep it in their backpack. So a lot of times that's going to help too. Okay, cool. I can't get that kid to eat anything but carbs. I'm like, I know, Paige was the same way. I did eggs, cheese, and stuck it in a burrito and she'd eat it. So, but she did that every morning for years. So, but just pick your battles. But usually, like I said, Stephen was the same way too for a while. So, but I'm like, pick your battles. It's so good. Okay. As sensitive, I get let down easily by people not following through on what they say. How do I overcome this? You know, that's a really good one, Jerry, because even me, I've just learned that if somebody asks me a question, all I can do is give advice. That's it. So all I'm doing is giving advice on the plate. And if they choose not to take it, that's fine. That's cool. But the other thing is that a lot of people want to look better than what they really are. They want to hide their flaws instead of simply owning them. And if you've got integrity means that your actions and your words match, and that you're able to own mistakes. You're able to be who you are, be authentic, and not have to hide anything about yourself. So, and that's something, you know, I think we all have to kind of work on. I'm getting better at it, but the biggest thing is just make sure that people weren't raised like you. And so it really boils down to integrity and authenticity. And people who have integrity and authenticity are very often let down with the people around us who we think would be better than that. So I've learned not to have hope or expectation with people anymore. I just simply put it out there and we see what happens. So I've just learned not to have hope or expectation with people due to their own free will. So, and if it happens, awesome. But if it doesn't, that's okay, because I wasn't expecting it or hoping for it. So hopefully that one helps a little bit. Josie, every time I put my crystals outside to charge, they end up being moved. Yeah, sometimes our spirit guides do that for us just to be ornery. Other times they will remove them when we don't need to be, when we don't need it anymore. So it's like you put your crystal on, you know, the dresser, and then you go to the bathroom and you come back and it's gone. I'm like, yeah, that's what spirit guides sometimes do. Our loved ones have the tendency to do that too. So usually I found that when it comes to crystals though, 9 times out of 10, it's our spirit guides. And it's because we're relying on an object to give us answers instead of relying on our own instinct or our own intuition. So, okay, I'm confused on what I should do about my marriage. All the signs are pointing to leave, but I'm kind of scared. Trisha, I'll tell you what, you know, I always tell people, you'll know when it's time to go, because all the signs, you'll just know. You'll wake up and go, today's the day. I'm going to be okay, but it's better than where I'm at now. So, and understand also that the fear of loneliness is it's a legit thing. And also, you know, fear of not having enough money, things like that. So, but the biggest thing is, I guess I've already come from a divorce once. So I can tell you that I just woke up one day and I just knew the day was right. I didn't worry about money. There was no worry. There was no guilt. It was very black and white, and it was time for me to move on. So that's the best advice I can give you. You'll just know when it's time. But the biggest thing is make sure that you're working on that self-confidence, that solar plexus, because the heart chakra and the solar plexus, when you go through wanky relationships, those are the first two to kind of get off. So make sure that you really keep on check with that solar plexus chakra and make sure that that stays open and strong through this process. All righty? All right. Can you wear a bracelet as an anklet? Rebecca, I would tell you no, because the rubber band or the band on it, it's hard for me to find anklets. I'm trying to find some, honestly, and they're hard. So most everybody has the bracelets, and it's hard for me to find anklets. And if I do find an anklet, it's usually hematite, and I'm like, oh, I don't want hematite. So I'm gonna still look for those though. La, la, la. I have become a person who really likes to be alone and moved to my own place 4 months ago. Is that strange? Sharon, no, it's not. That means that you're highly intuitive. So very intuitive people, and especially empaths, really need their space. They need that quiet alone time to gather their thoughts, clear out their energy field, just relax without other influences around. So yes, that's absolutely normal. But remember, most people are very codependent, and people who are enlightened, you just become more independent the more enlightened you get. So I'm gonna tell you, not normal to me. So I just happen to have 3 teenagers and 2 dogs in the house. So I don't always get a lot of alone time, but when I do, oh, it's bliss. So yeah, normal. If you're good at channeling, would you make a good medium also? Denise, I will tell you that a medium and a channel are intertwined. So a medium is somebody who can talk to dead people around them. A channel is somebody who allows spirit to take over their body to relay a message to other people. So I am not a channel. So I've done it once. I do not like that feeling. I like to be in control of me. Therefore, I'm a medium, not a channel. So, but every channeler is a type of medium, but not every psychic is a medium. So it's like psychic, medium, channeler, if that makes any sense. So yes, in a way. I recently went to a medium and she mentioned that I am aware, sensitive to spirits. What does this mean? Rayleigh, that just simply means that you're a sensitive. So it means that you can feel subtle vibrational shifts. And you kind of know, it's like your spidey senses are kind of taken out. You're like, okay, you feel that shift in a room. That's what a sensitive is. A sensitive also is considered a type of empath who can feel other people's emotional states and not necessarily what's going on in the head, but how they feel. So most than likely you're an empath or a clairsentient, or you're a sensitive. So, because all 3 are kind of interchanged. You know, there really isn't a Webster's dictionary for spiritual stuff. You know, there's a Webster's dictionary for everything else but spiritual stuff, because I think that there isn't really, those terms haven't really been solidly defined. They're getting better, but they're not really defined. So hopefully we can start working on that, or I need to write another book. Ugh. So, okay. Rebecca's asking if she has huge amount of things happening all at once. And I'm going to tell you what, Rebecca, one thing at a time. A lot of us get anxiety because we look at the big picture of everything and we're like, oh my God, how am I going to get it done? And I'm going to tell you, the things that you can control, those are the things you're going to concentrate on, and then make that list even smaller by what needs to happen now. So don't worry about the what ifs. Don't worry about the long term. Don't worry about the things that have to happen. Worry about what you can work on day 1, day 2, day 3. That's going to help you focus here instead of getting anxiety ridden with all the overload of everything that needs to happen. And I'm going to tell you, I have to do that too. So if I look at my calendar 3 months ahead of time, my head spins because I'm like, I've got to do all of this. And I'm like, oh my God, how am I supposed to do all of this, raise my kids, take care of the other business? How am I supposed to do it all? And you know what? I've learned that's a trigger for me. So I only look 2 weeks, no longer than 2 weeks. I only look 2 weeks ahead of my schedule because that is chompable bits that I can handle. If I go 4, 5, 6 weeks out, I'm overwhelmed. And here comes the anxiety. And it's not worth it. So I just keep it right here. So like I said, baby steps, one thing at a time, okay? Jasmine is asking, are nightmares signs that something bad is going to happen or like a warning sign? Absolutely not. And I'm going to tell you, nightmares, usually, unless you're precognitive, which is pretty rare, but usually nightmares have everything to do with fear that you're feeling in the daytime. So your dreams are a reflection of what's happening throughout your day and a way for you to look at the core issue so you can fix the core issue and not have that negative emotion anymore. Nightmares are because you're scared to death, fear and anxiety are hand in hand. Anxiety is you're scared of the what if. So it's all about fear. You're scared to what? And I'm going to tell you, face the fear head on. Absolutely face it head on every single time and go just bull through it. Because at the end of the day, when you're done, you'll be able to turn around and go, oh, that wasn't too scary. What the hell was I scared of? So, and again, one step at a time. Just like I said, don't get overwhelmed with the big. Just keep it small, but chomp through that fear and understand most likely someone taught you how to be scared or taught you how to be scared of something. So like I said, break that all down, all righty? Okay. Jessica is asking, do you suggest setting an intention for each crystal you have? Yes. And best crystal for your solar plexus, citrine. Citrine is great. It really is. Amber is another one. Anything yellow. So I got lemon quartz, honey calcite, orange calcite. Anything yellow is really, it's whichever yellow one you're attracted to. So it's not just one thing fits all. It's really not. Remember, vibrationally speaking, some things are just a little bit off, and us people are a little bit off. We're not all the same. So if something resonates with you with that certain color, then that's the one you need. And I always tell my adults, don't read the information about it. Don't read the card. Look at the rock. Look at the stone. That's the one that's going to attract you. Then you can read the card and go, oh, that's why I like it. So I always tell my adults, be like children when it comes to picking out crystals, because you want to look at the crystal and see what you're attracted to. And a lot of times you'll hear this, well, it's whatever jumps out at you. It kind of does in a weird way. So like I said, look at the crystal, not the information about it. Okay. So hopefully that's going to help you. But yes, every crystal I have, I'll cleanse it, I'll charge it, and then I'll hold it in my hand and I will state what I want this crystal to do. Now, crystals are multi-purpose, especially clear quartz. So if you want to, set the intention for that certain crystal, that's great. And then when you're ready to clear it, you have to cleanse it and charge it again. And then you can set the intent for something different. Okay. So the biggest thing is you do want to set an intent for each one of your crystals for what you want it to do for you. You don't have to necessarily, but if you really want it to work for what you need it for, then you want to set the intent. All righty. Cool. Carolyn says, I'm looking to becoming a surrogate. Is this part of my greater plan? Hell yes. So absolutely yes. Christina is asking, how do I know if my son is sensitive to spirits? If they're under the age of 5, they are. How about that? So every kid under the age of 5 is intuitive. Every kid is, just in different ways, just in different forms. So when they start school, usually the volume starts to go down a little bit. So, and then when they graduate high school and get into the real world, a lot of times that'll get tapped back in. So, and for what we want, we don't want them to be tapped in necessarily when school, because it's harder for them to concentrate in school, do their school, and they have harder issues with energies, which, I mean, imagine you guys would be stuck at Walmart for hours at a time. Hell no. So that's when, like, these kids can't get an escape. They're at Walmart every single day. You know what I mean? So it's really difficult for them. So that's why a lot of times it kind of has to dwindle down. And Christina's saying he's 11. You know, he'll know it if he says it. I always tell parents, don't force your children to talk about that spiritual stuff. If they see dead people or whatever else, they will come to you. And if they come to you, be open-minded. Do not put your own fear into whatever may be happening if you don't know. So, because they're going to react and respond to you. So the biggest thing you could say is, that's interesting. And if you don't know, say, you know what, I don't know, buddy, but let me find out. So, and that way, they know that they can come to you with these things, but at the same time, if you don't know, you simply say you don't know, and then you contact me or somebody else like that to be able to help you out with stuff like that. Does it mean when you dream that an angel tells you it is your last day alive? Dominique, no, not necessarily. I've had dreams about angels before and I haven't died. I've actually died several times in dreams too, and I haven't died. So, and death in my world, remember, death means change. Death means transition. It doesn't mean literally that you're going to die. It means that you are going through a major change. So when I moved from Blair to Elkhorn, I died hundreds of times in my dreams. When I moved from Western Nebraska to Blair, I also had those same dreams. And then when I had a major breakup, I had those same dreams. So just understand that's totally normal. But death and angels and stuff like that, remember, it doesn't always necessarily mean death, which is the first thing we think of because that's a natural human response. All righty? Okay. Jerry said, I'm a designer trying to launch a new product. A lot of people took money and didn't do what they said. Should I give up on this dream? Jerry, no, I don't want you to give up on the dream. I want you to give up on the idea that people have to help you to achieve your dream. No, I want you to be able to do it yourself. So where businesses get into pickles is they are reliant on other people to be successful. Now, don't get me wrong. I have a wonderful team of ladies and my employees to help me be successful. Make no mistake about it. But when I first started, it's just me. It was just me. I could not depend on anybody else but me to make it roll. And I'll tell you what, you become savvy, you become smart, and you think like your customer. You don't think like your product. So the biggest thing I can tell you is I want to make sure that, yes, you fulfill your dream. You always do, because at the end of the day, when you're on your deathbed, you're going to regret it if you don't. So, and I always tell people, go big or go home, but just make sure that you're doing it yourself. At least to start, do it yourself. So does that make sense? Hopefully that one helps out. But like I said, I see a lot of people are like, oh, I need to work with this person and that person and this person to be successful. I'm like, no, do it yourself. That means that you got to market yourself. That means you got to do make yourself different. What's your niche? What makes you different than everybody else? And remember, God made everybody different. There's a lot of mediums around, but I had to think of terms of what makes me different. What can I do differently? So, and that's really, you got to think like a business. You got to think like a business owner, and you have to also think like your customer. So hopefully that one helps out, Jerry. Okay. Jasmine said, this morning I pushed snooze on my alarm, then turned it off completely, and I heard my grandma's voice say my name and woke up instantly. Yes, that's awesome. Jasmine, what happens is right before we go to sleep, and right when we wake up in that like weird twilight zone, you're actually meditating. Therefore, you are not thinking. Therefore, that is the easiest time for your spirit guides or loved ones to come to you and say hi. And a lot of times they're going to say your name. So that'll really get a hold of your attention. That happened to me when I was 19. And I'll tell you a quick story. I was sitting there and I was in my dorm, and I knew somebody was in my room, and I knew that they were friendly. And I said, say something. And I heard in my head, I heard Kelly. And I said, say it again. And I heard Kelly Ann or Kelly. And then I said, if you know me, then you need to say my middle name. And I heard Kelly Ann. That freaked me out. And that was right as I was getting ready to go to bed. But remember, right when you go to bed or right when you wake up, that's when you're really going to accidentally tap in. And I always have to remind people, they're not tapping into your world. You're tapping into theirs. They've been there the whole time. So there's no point of you getting scared with stuff, all righty? AI. My brother has been diagnosed with schizophrenia. Before he was diagnosed, he said he was seeing spirits, one being my grandma, and was able to communicate with them. Was he actually seeing spirit? Yes. Yes, he was. And I'm going to tell you that schizophrenics and myself swim in the same water. I simply float. They have their head down. So sometimes in schizophrenic, when they're in their negative, they hear voices, but those voices say to hurt other people. Me, I hear voices, I see dead people, and I'm a medium, but that seems to be accepted. But but back in the day, I would have been locked up for schizophrenia. Absolutely. So I'm going to tell you, schizophrenics and mediums go hand in hand. It's yin yang. One is in the positive, one is in the negative. So yes, I do. So I would absolutely believe that. So, and unfortunately, I think a lot of people that are in psych wards are very much like me. So children as well. So let me see. I have been told I'm a gatekeeper. What exactly is that? Not a clue. I don't know. This is that terminology we were talking about earlier that's really difficult. I don't know what that quite means. So that's a hard one for me to define. So maybe Google that one and see if something resonates with you. But that one's a hard definition for myself to be able to define that one. Sorry. Somebody was asking, what do I think about altars? Fabulous. I think you should have an altar in your own meditation space or your meditation practice. Personally, when I meditate, I always have a white candle burning. And even you'll see a lot of things like little tea candles. Those are perfect for meditating. So I know Awakenings, we're getting more like raw crystals that have tea like holders in them. And so those are perfect for being able to meditate. You just, light them, you chill, blow them out, you're done. So, and they don't have a lot of smoke. So I really like that. Some people like to meditate with crystals, and they like to put them on that altar. Also, crystal grids work great for altars. So there's nothing wrong with altars. So like I said, to me, it's just another form of a meditation practice. It's an extension of it. So I like it. Can that happen? So somebody was asking, Lori was asking, can that happen when you're hearing your name from other family names a lot when you have your hands in water? Yes, it does. Yep. Water is an amplifier. And here's what's even crazy is that you'll notice every time I do a live audience reading, it's snowing, raining, thunderstorm, tornado warning every time. I'm doing a live audience reading this Friday, tomorrow night. It's sold out already, and we have a snowstorm coming. Happens every freaking time. So, but the reason why I think is because remember, water is an amplifier. So if it's raining or snowing or anything like that, when I'm on stage, it's like my antenna goes triple. So really helps a lot. So, but yeah, happens all the time. Even just like meditating in a bathtub is great too. So I like it. Sonia is asking if I'm going to be in Columbus soon to do a gallery reading. Yes, I'm working on it. Right now, the venue is difficult. So I'm trying to figure out the venue and then my timing because I'm really honestly booked out every weekend until December. So I'm trying to snake that one in. Jules was asking, are child predators punished after death? Yes and no. And I say that because 99.9% of us go to heaven. If we do go to hell, it's usually because we're possessed or we have a negative entity attachment. And then what happens is we get scared to death and we're like, okay, God, get me the hell out of here. And then you go. However, karmic debt must be paid, whether it's in this lifetime or the next. So if you are a child predator, then you will be preyed upon in the next life. That is basic karmic law. So you do unto others as what you would done to you. So if you're a narcissist in a previous life, you'll be an empath in the next one. If you were a player in the first life, you're going to get played in the next life. If you were a greedy bitch in this life, you're going to be a hungry Ethiopian in the next. Karma will always get paid. That's how we balance it out, okay? So yes and no, if that makes any sense. Carol said, I was cleaning the garage, heard my husband say my name. Now I know it's really him I'm hearing, and that you're not crazy. Yep, that's true. Yep, absolutely. Yep. La la la. Yeah, Jessica said, I saw you in KC and it was a snowstorm. I'm like, right? We had to drive through that. Holy crap, that was scary. So it was like 6 inches and I was sloshing. So that was a scary ride home. I had to really, there was like 45, miles an hour drive. It was scary. Okay. Somebody's asking a question up here. My questions are getting all quiet. Okay. Is it normal to receive signs from the universe when you meet a soulmate? Do you believe in destiny guiding you to your life's soul purpose? Yes and yes. Is it normal to receive signs from the universe when you meet a soulmate? Absolutely yes. And there is so much synchronicity, it blows your mind, okay? So do I believe in destiny guiding your soul purpose? Yes. Hey. Yes, and it does happen. Let me think. Where was it? Destiny always guides you to your life purpose. Always. That's what I'm like going there. If I would have tried to put together this magical theme of me being here, now don't get me wrong, we have free will. So yes, that can affect it. But ultimately, is my purpose to be a medium and eventually to teach? Yeah, it is. So like I said, so yes and no. It just, the avenue to get there might be a little bit different, but ultimately the main points in your chart, yes. Or contract, you hear that a lot too. So yep, that's true. Are we really gonna have a snowstorm? If we do, it's gonna be light this weekend. I ain't worried about it. How do you know if this is your last life? You'll know. This is my last life. So I just know. How I know? I don't know. I just know. This is my last life though. Kristen says, I think I am thinking positively about getting pregnant and not saying it will never happen. I don't know when it will happen. I've done everything. I don't know what else to do. Kristen, I'm going to tell you, this is one, and I deal with a lot of infertility. I'm going to tell you the biggest thing I'm going to tell you is I'm going to guess that your dad probably wasn't around during your teenage years. He was probably a workaholic or wasn't there. So I need to kind of get some more info on that, because believe it or not, when it comes to girls and their uterus, their father plays a big role. So I need to kind of know more information about that one, Kristen. Any other questions, guys? These are good questions. Try to go through my. La, 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 la. Not really. Yeah. So I'm going to tell you that you need to either speak your truth when it comes to your father, or if you are trying to get pregnant, I know this sounds awful, but he's a trigger. So you need to avoid the trigger. So I don't want your mama talking about him. I don't want anybody else. I don't want you to hear. You kind of have to like put a boundary up and not know what's going on in dad's life. So in order for you to get pregnant, he's a trigger. So that's why I'm like going in a weird way. I want to make sure he's not a trigger. And number two, I want to make sure that you didn't marry someone like your father. So, and that's why hand-holding, intimacy, those little tiny things are really going to matter. But Kristen, if you're still having issues, that means to tell me that you're still holding on to issues when it comes to your dad. So the other thing is that anything with the sacral chakra is also known as the water chakra. So water is going to be your friend. So listening to water at night, being in a bathtub, swimming, those are all positives to help open up that sacral chakra. Okay. Can there be a spiritual meaning behind car accidents? I will tell you there is never, no such thing as an accident. An accident, or people that get in accidents, is because they're always angry. So angry people get in accidents, especially if they get angry at other people on the way that they drive. So anger causes accidents. That's why somebody like falls and breaks their leg. It's because they're angry. So that's why nothing happens in this world random. Nothing is random. Nothing. And when you see that synchronistic flow and you see how nothing is random, how it's all tied together, I'm able to do that. I keep wanting to teach this to people, that you'll see it, but accidents are never accidents. It's because they're angry. So same with like stones in the body or cysts. Those are bits of anger. So, and it depends on where they're at to figure out who or what they're angry about. So if you have gallbladder stones, you're holding on to anger due to guilt. So you do something for another person, and then you ask for help and they don't help you, and you get pissed off over that. So for an example, so that's why you would have gallstones. So, but gallbladder is all about guilt. So hopefully that one helps. I can go on with health indicators all day. Jasmine was asking me how the retreat went in Arizona. Amazing. As a matter of fact, it went so well. I'm going to do 2 next year, 1 in April, 1 in September. So I'm working on getting all the stuff kind of ready for that. So, but yeah, it was fun. So if you guys want to go on a retreat with me, it's a little under $2,000, but that includes the flight and the hotel. And it's going to be in Sedona, Arizona. So it was wonderful. We had a blast. It was great. We did all the vortexes and meditated and did a big release. It was great. It was so fun. Okay. We've been trying to purchase a home, and the seller and the realtor have been vague. Never a counter offer. I feel like this isn't over yet. Any thoughts? I'm going to tell you what, Jane, go with your gut. It ain't over yet. So, but you know what? Mercury isn't in retrograde, and there's not a lot of stoppages. So that's on if something is amiss, it's a miss. So make sure that you're asking the right questions that they have to answer. Okay. So, Sharon's asking, my scalp burned sensitive 5 years ago after I colored hair, have allergies, all internal. Now I cannot use chemicals in hair. Strong smells bother me. Sharon, I would tell you, make sure you need a detox, especially, I will tell you, the detox for you is going to be, you got to watch your like preservatives, gluten, I guess, lactose, watch what you're eating. So, because your eating is going to all affect all of that. So watch what you're eating, or make sure that you eat enough greens. So, because that's going to help to detox you too. Jules, how do I know if a spirit is still around or if they were born into a different life? You wouldn't know. So, and I'll tell you what, even if because you have to think quantumly, okay? We all have a higher self. So if I'm talking to grandpa that died and he reincarnated as a grandson, I can still talk to grandpa. So quantumly, I'm still talking to that higher self person. So like I said, it gets a little weird, but a trained medium, or a medium who's been doing this a while, would know the difference. But a lot of times that grandpa and that grandson are going to have the same mannerisms. So you'll notice that a lot. Or it's because the grandson can see the grandpa and the grandpa's rubbing off on the grandson. So there's a couple different ways of figuring that one out. But I would tell you, maybe meditate on it and see what you get. But even if, so for instance, my dad died 20 some odd years ago, I still get signs from him, even if he's reincarnated. So, which I don't think he has, but even if he has, I would still be able to get signs from my dad. Remember, it's all attached to the higher self, which the higher self can it kind of goes down and goes back up, if that makes any sense at all. So, okay. Seeing lots of repeating numbers. Yay, Jennifer, that just means to tell me that you're beginning now to go through a spiritual awakening. So I am getting a new website, by the way, guys. My new website is being worked on right now. I'm taking Enlightenment Academy and Psychic Medium Kelly Miller and Awakenings. And Awakenings still going to have its own website, but I'm kind of merging all three together in one. So it's kind of overwhelming right now. They're working with me on this. I got a marketing team to help me with it. So I have a blog that has the number meanings. I just don't have it up right now. It's not active. So I would tell you, I like Doreen Virtue's Angel Book numbers. We sell that at Awakenings. I love that book. It goes from 0 to 999. So look those numbers up, and if it resonates with you, you're like, oh my gosh, then that's for you. And if it doesn't, keep looking for the meaning. Okay. But it's really common for enlightened people to see replicating numbers. If you go to Awakenings, you'll notice a lot of things are like 1555, 1444, 1333. We do it that way for a reason, because our enlightened people, they think it's funny and it's great. So that's just our little way of kind of pricing our stuff. Steph, how can I help my son wondering if we're missing root cause for being behavioral, academically, and socially? Steph, I would, without, it depends, Steph, does he have some autism? So, because that sometimes is the root cause. And if that's the case, it would be his lack of relationship with his biological father. So it's going to be one of two. Dominique is asking, how do you beat addiction with the help of spirituality? It becomes easier. It becomes way easier. But remember, you have to replace that addiction with something positive, because you're still going to have those addictive tendencies. So what can you do to help you develop that just a little bit better? Hopefully if that makes sense. We got to be able to get you focused in on something that's positive. So whether that's maybe writing, learning something new, things like that. So could be music too. So get into something that you've always been curious about. That's really going to help you with the addiction. Number 2, get some goals. Know what the hell you want out of life. Get some goals. So Drac is asking, please, I'm not lying. The universe is telling me that I'm half demon through synchronicity. Am I being haunted? And I'm going to tell you, Drac, you probably are, or you have a negative entity attachment, or you are possibly possessed too. So which you would think honestly, it's a lot more common than you think. It really is. So Drac, what I would tell you is find like a Reiki master who is specialized in entity removal. So I know that Dioyan with microgridactivation.com, I know that he's really good at entity removal, and you don't even have to leave your house. So he can do it via Skype, just like what we're doing. He could do it via Skype. So I would tell you, find somebody who specializes in entity removal so you can get that off of you, okay? So next one, is amber good for healing? Yes, it is. Diagnosed with basal cell carcinoma, affected root canal in the same area. What crystals would work best? Jennifer, I'm going to tell you what, best crystal is going to be amethyst and smoky quartz. Smoky quartz helps to detoxify cancer cells. Second of all, if you have cancer issues, or you're even beginning to have those cancer issues, you need to let go of the resentment that you have with one of your parents. Let it go. Remember, you picked your parents. It's your job to figure out why you picked them in the first place. Put up appropriate boundaries and forgive. Look at how they were raised. They're probably just doing the best that they can with what little they know, okay? Well, how does one work through childhood fears that are being triggered by a family situation? That's a good one, Peg. And I'm going to tell you what, one step at a time, baby step, baby step. So learn how to be non-reactive. Learn how to be observant and not in the mix of it. So learn how to just kind of take a step back and go, I see this old trick again. I ain't going to fall for it this time. And so learn how to react differently. Learn how to respond differently, because if you respond differently, they don't know how to react. So respond and react differently. I have several food allergies to fruits and veggies. Any tips to resolve a reaction? Ooh, Carlin, I would tell you, and I know this sounds weird, but I'm willing to bet, and you can even put it on this chat bar. I am willing to bet that you say people annoy me, or I'm annoyed, or they annoy me, or I'm irritated, or people irritate me, or that's bugging me. So I need to know if you use those terms a lot, because if you do, that's where allergies reside, within that and anger. La, 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 la. Drac is asking, he synchronizes with the main characters that are half demons, like I do something and something happens to me, same similar characters or TV movies. So Drac, that just means to tell me that, like I said, you're focusing in on the negative because it resonates with you. So instead, focus on the positive, but it's going to be hard for you to do that when you possibly have that negative entity attachment. So like I said, it also could be some past life stuff too. We can't rule that out on this one. Ooh, Corey's asking, youngest son sustained severe concussion, T1 vertebra fracture, headache still coming very frequently. Two things, Corey. One, I would tell you, let's look into chiropractic, because I want to make sure everything is aligned here, okay? So chiropractic, and I want somebody that you trust, okay? So chiropractic care. Number two, believe it or not, I would suggest a hyperbaric chamber. So I know that there's some places around town that does hyperbaric chambers. I don't know of anybody off the top of my head. I know that there's one in Norfolk at the Diabetic Wellness Center. But I would say that the hyperbaric chamber is really going to infuse the brain with oxygen. So ginkgo biloba also infuses the brain with oxygen. So, you know, if it were my kid, that's what I would look into. I like I said, I just spoke earlier where my Steven had a concussion on the football field yesterday. So he was we were in the ER for a couple hours yesterday. So, but like I said, it depends. Yeah, Corey, with that break, that's what I'm like, I want to make sure that we are very careful because we got to make sure that gets healed up. And that takes a little while to heal. So just like I said, it's got to take a while to heal. The concentration is going to be a little bit. Other things that might help would be charolite would be a really good stone to help out. The other one would be smoky quartz, because that's a detoxifier, and bloodstone. So those would also be some things that I would say maybe look into that. But like I said, biggest thing, let them rest. They're going to be especially the tiredness. And I love the fact that our schools are getting better with the way that they treat concussions. So they're taking it a lot more seriously than they used to. So, but yeah. The other thing with the neck, acupuncture. So I would tell you 13 Moons Acupuncture here in Omaha. Donna Hubert, she's one of the best. So she does the old school, like Chinese medicine. So she is one of the best ones I've come across yet. So I would tell you that might be another one you may want to look into, acupuncture therapy. Okay. Everybody's telling me thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. So, 10-year-old has Crohn's and has horrible foot pain. Doctors won't have an answer. Any advice on healing her pain? She's 10 and can barely walk. Okay, Molly. First things first is that I'm going to guess that, remember, in my world, kids are born innocent and pure. So that means to tell me that someone, first of all, she's got an autoimmune issue. So the autoimmune issue in the guts is going to determine with the feet with the main meridian line, okay? So the main meridian line, if we're talking about that, that's all about acupuncture. I was talking about that earlier. So acupuncture is a hell yes. Second thing is that the nerve endings we want to make sure are aligned. So again, most likely her hips are really off. Not so much her feet, it's her hips. Adjust and align the hips. The feet will then get back into alignment. So I'm going to tell you, concentrate on the hip and the lower back, because most likely that's the problem, not her feet, okay? So like I said, look at that one. But that would be another one. The other thing for feet is stubbornness and rigidity. So make sure she's not stubborn or that she's learning stubbornness from a parent. So the biggest thing is that she's going to learn negative behaviors from her two parents. So, but you can only control you, Molly. I know you can't probably control the other one, but understand that your reaction and the way that you are is what she is absorbing, learning, and outwardly going. So, like I said, I always have parents that are like, what can I do for my children? I'm like, fix you. You fix you, the children will then go into alignment. So, Spirit Walker Adventures. I love that. That's great. I am wishing to have a procedure that will improve my health. Do you see me having it sooner or later in the next year? I would tell you, I'm just trying to think. Oh, I would do it sooner than later with you. Just saying, just do it sooner than later. Drac, yes, that is possible. Because he's asking about that. We're talking about replicating numbers every day. Enlightened people see replicating numbers. So I'm looking back up. Concussion, 10-year-old. I'll do one more question if you guys got another question. Holy crap, now I got a million. I've been interested in learning about spirit guides recently. How do I communicate or identify them? Number one, meditate. Number two, ask them to show up. Ask and ye shall receive. Ask for your spirit guides to show up so you can start talking to them. Sharon Miller is asking what do kidney stones mean? It means that you are angry at your parents because you're trying to be the perfect kid for them. And you're tired of being the perfect kid for them. So, or that's what it means. It's just that it's a child response to not feeling good enough when it comes to your parents as kidneys. Sleep troubles, adopt a daughter who is 8. Good one. Okay, so 3 things we can do. Number 1, no bed in corners. We don't put beds in corners with little kids because corners are like mini pyramids. So mini pyramids amplify energy. You don't want your head in a corner. So number 2, black tourmaline will help to keep them grounded and help keep them from astral traveling, okay? And then number 3, dream catchers work. But your kiddo has to pick out the dream catcher herself or himself, and then they're going to put it in their room, and you put it right where they tell you. If they say over there, then that's where you're going to put it. Kids know how energy flows in a room, so that should help out. And then lastly, don't be afraid to sage. Sage the house, sage the area, sage. That's really going to help out a lot as well. Mary, I wouldn't be. Don't be worried. And I'll tell you why, because a lot of people are having weird heart palpitations right now, and our energy shifts are happening pretty intense right now. So a lot of people have some weird heart palps. So no worries there. Okay, guys, I just want to thank you guys so much again for watching this. I'm sorry I was a little late, but I was like in my own little zone. I was actually ordering crystals. So I was in my own like little work zone. So we'll be doing this again. Like I said, I like to do these once a month. So I want to thank everybody for attending and watching once again. Be sure that you subscribe to this YouTube page because I will be doing a lot more free videos. I've also been doing a lot more free stuff when it comes to Awakening. So if you don't follow Awakenings on Facebook, make sure that you do, because a lot of times on Awakenings, what I'll do is if I'm bored, I'll just shoot a video. And the last video I did was all about incense cone burners. So I'm also going to be doing a lot of like salt lamps and how to use a pendulum and which one's right for you and stuff like that. So the biggest thing is, like I said, I'll be shooting a lot more live videos if you follow Awakenings on Facebook. And then I'll also be doing more free workshops and webinars as well. I just did a crystals one. I'm going to do another crystals one here a little bit because there's just too many to talk about. So, but yeah, thanks again, guys, for watching. Take care and have a wonderful week and weekend. All right. Thanks again, guys. Bye now.